Thanks for checking out this film review from the Dead Man's Party podcast. You could find our full archive of every unedited show if you subscribe to The Skeleton Crew on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to support Dead Man's Party on Patreon. Link in the description. Enjoy the review. What's up? This is Dead Man's Party, and we are reviewing Bloodsport. I am really excited. Wait, who the hell are these two scumbags? Oh, I'm with my pal Chris. What's up, Chris?
I ain't your pal, dickface.
Okay, and I'm with the guy who lives in the Kowloon walled city, the Ghoul. What's up, Ghoul?
If you want to shit sparks, you stay put.
What is that? Oh, wow, is that what he says? I
never knew that line until this watch because I actually had the subtitles on. And I was like, holy shit, he just said you want to shit sparks?
I never knew that.
Yeah, I never picked up on that before.
Yes! I've always loved that line in this movie.
Always? You've known about this for years?
You know me, I'm a fucking, ADR shit. Granted, that's not ADR, but when...
Dude, the ADR, we'll get to it. The ADR in this movie is fucking off the charts.
Yeah, this is Bloodsport, Van Damme's arguably Van Damme's biggest movie ever.
I would say, yeah, his first movie and his biggest movie, yes.
Yeah, well, actually, No Retreat, No Surrender was before this.
Oh, see, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, he was the villain in the movie.
Oh, wow.
He was your Chong Li or Tong Po. He was that guy. And he was barely in it.
Who was the protagonist of that movie? Was it anyone notable?
Nah, no one I know. I don't think he had much of a career after that. He was a kid back then.
Interesting.
This director, Newt Arnold, excellent job. Writer Sheldon Lettish, Christopher Cosby, Mel Friedman. And then starring Jean-Claude Van Damme as Frank Dukes, Donald Gibb as Jackson, Leah Aries as Janice, Bolo Ying as Chong Li. So, let me get to the people.
It's Chong Li.
Yeah, Chong Li is from Street Fighter.
Street Fighter has a character named Chong Li?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's also starring Michel Quisi as not Tong Po, but some other guy, but he's not actually in the top 20 people, so I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea what his character's name is in this movie. Even though they show it, I think, up on the board at one point.
He's like a prominent one of the other fighters. Yeah.
Well, I think his name is Baradai because he goes, "That's how Baradai surprised him." So I think his name is Paradai or something like that.
Oh, you're right. They do say it at that one point. You're right.
And that's the guy who kicked him in the stomach.
Yeah. Which
is why I think he broke his shin. So Bloodsport, this to me goes hand in hand with Kickboxer. Where do you even begin? This review is going to be so long. I feel like we shouldn't even start with like this big intro. We should just get right to it because there's a lot here. So
yeah, I love this whole opening scene where it shows the fighters just doing their own training. Chong Li kicking through those blocks of ice in slow motion. That's just a great visual. That fucking little black guy literally jumps from the ground. The monkey guy jumps from, and we're not being racist, so fuck you. The little monkey.
He's legit. He's jumping around like
jumps from the ground up onto a tree branch and starts chopping coconuts in half, like his hand is a fucking machete, dude. It's crazy.
And if you want to get the stereotyping, fucking look at when they introduced Ray Jackson. He's just doing regular boxing and he's crushing beer.
Right.
Like that's right. Exactly. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's just a fucking big meathead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the opening scenes, Hong Kong, the fighters training. You got, like you said, Chong Li breaking those blocks of ice. Now, is he putting on an exhibition for other people, or do you think that's how he trains?
Well, I guess it's how he trains, but I mean, what is the purpose of that? Like,
could be a bit of both.
Why blocks of ice?
It could be a bit of...
I know that's a plot point in The Karate Kid Part 2, which we will get to eventually one day.
I cannot fucking wait.
But I mean, it's no different than fucking chopping or kicking, boards or whatever.
It looks cooler.
Yeah, it looks cool.
The Kumite is what, every 5 years, they say?
Oh, do they say that? Oh, okay, I missed it.
Yeah, so he's also, that's the thing, he's training, but also putting on an exhibition, because he's the previous Kumite champion.
Right.
So, yeah, he's and as we see later on in the movie, he's very full of himself. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's just putting on an expedition being like, I can crush ice.
They're like, hey guys, you want to see the guy who murdered a man crush ice? Here he is, Chong Li.
Several people.
Yeah. You got Matthew McConaughey jumping through those wooden boards.
Oh.
Who comes back? Did you guys notice that he fights Chong Li?
Yeah, I didn't even realize that was the same guy as from the beginning of the movie, because when he fights Chong Li, my first thought was, that is Peyton Manning. That's who I immediately thought it was, Peyton Manning. But then you called him Matthew McConaughey.
And how upset are we all that they cut that fight short? It just ends. Right? Did you notice?
Yeah.
He's fighting the guy. It just ends.
If there's like some director's cut of this movie with the full fights, fucking give it to me, please.
Because they're all so amazing.
Yeah, it's called like the Kumite cut, and you get the whole fucking tournament.
It's 5.5, 6 hours long, full fights.
Well, funny you say that. So, when Van Damme first saw this movie, he was insanely depressed and disappointed, and he didn't think his career was going to take off because it was edited so poorly. So he somehow convinced the team to let him go in the editing room, and he had first-hand edit control of all of this, and he fixed it all up, and he made it work. And, listen, he did the choreography in Kickboxer, so I believe that he just has this amazing knack for somehow getting fights on screen and making them look good.
Yeah, no, 100%. If he wasn't a star in itself, he would have been a fantastic just choreographer, like, as it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, Jackson's just punching a bag, not really involved stuff, not really sure how he got an invitation.
Yeah, the guy's like, I heard you get killed at the Kumite. He's like, only if you fuck up.
Yeah, because you won't do that.
I need more scars on my face.
Oh, he got him. Like you guys said, the ADR is out of control in this movie.
Well, it shows Chong Li and like his assistant, and the guy goes, tomorrow we leave for the Kumite. Like, that guy would not be speaking English to Chong Li. He'd be speaking fluent Chinese.
Yeah.
I got an ADR point further in the movie.
There's multiple.
And how does Chong Li not know? Doesn't he have... This isn't all worked out?
Yeah, he's like, oh, really? It's tomorrow? Holy shit. I had no idea.
I thought you said Wednesday.
I'm only the champion.
Yeah, I'm only the champion. Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, been 5 years. I guess it's... Oh, whoops.
Wait a minute, I didn't even pack yet. Yeah, so how about when in the army, Frank disappears in the shower, and then you get to this fucking guy who's like in charge there, and he goes, what? What do you mean Duke's left? If he gets it, whatever he says, dude, what voice is going on with, who is talking? It's not him.
No, right.
It is so weird. Why was...
But also, yet another movie where Van Damme is abandoning the military or the government in some way.
He goes full sprinting past that line of marching soldiers. Not one of them even gives him a second glance. But he's like sprinting maniacally past them. Like that's not normal. Someone would be like, "The fuck's that guy doing?"
Yeah.
But nope, he just goes flying right past them. No one bats an eye.
Yeah, it's Lionheart all over again. But this time he had furlough.
Fucking deserter.
No, but he was he was going on furlough. The guy just wanted to talk to him, I guess, to shut it down, though, because he goes, if he gets over there, then it's your ass or whatever. So they eventually realized why he's leaving. Like, why would you say for the Kumite? Why would you tell them that? And why are you all talking about the Kumite? Isn't this supposed to be like some underground thing that no one speaks of, but somehow a little kid knows it in a playground and like...
Yeah, it's like a secret society kind of thing.
Like, you're not supposed to be... and then like, Jackson's like, hey, man, I'm here for the Kumite. Want to watch me fight? And he's like, oh, I'm also here for the Kumite. It's like, guys, This is a secret underground organization that no one should know about, but you guys are like freely speaking of it to everyone, even the reporter.
Right? Yeah. Like, there's how would she, especially her,
Right.
like, how the fuck would she know about the Kumite?
It is wild how loose-lipped everybody is about this. It's really disturbing.
She looks like she should be doing fucking weather on Channel 5.
She's actually cute, though, right? She's good looking.
I'll put it in your previous podcast, Alex. 80s hot.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I mean, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If it was the 80s, I wouldn't think nothing of it.
Exactly.
You know? So he goes and visits Shidoshi Tanaka. He looks at that sword Tanaka must have won at a previous Kumite, because we see the sword get handed, at the end. So he starts to get into a flashback of when he was in grade school and attempted to steal the sword, I guess. What the fuck is happening in this scene?
This whole thing...
This whole opening scene is so bizarre.
The voice acting is ridiculous. The actor for fucking Frank is wooden. And then to realize that whole thing was a flashback of him looking into the katana.
Right.
I was like, wait, was this a training montage of him getting ready for the Kumite?
Yo, you got lost in it? Oh, okay.
I got lost in it. That's what I mean. The movie, like, they don't do anything to break it up. It's like a solid, 10 to maybe 12 minutes.
It just keeps going. And then you almost forget that it's a fucking flashback scene.
That's exactly. And then it zooms out to him still looking at it. I was like, what the fuck? That happened years ago.
Is that like when they say dreams take place in seconds, but in your mind it was like an hour long?
Yeah, isn't that wild? I've seen that before too, that people say your dreams only last 4 or 5 seconds, but I've had dreams that felt like 30 fucking minutes
me too.
long.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's insanity.
It's not true at all, because I've been half awake and half asleep, and I know that they actually go on in real time, so that's not true. There's so much to start with. This fucking kid playing Frank, he walks into this house wearing a fucking New York Giants jersey and a San Francisco Giants hat. Do we all know what's wrong with that? What, is he just like anything named Giants?
He's bi-coastal.
Should we put that in the LGBTQs?
BC, bi-coastal.
He's bi-coastal.
And JCVD. At
the end, JCVD. Yeah, that is already moronic. Then he gets there and they're like, hey, Frank, someone's coming. He just stands there. What do you think? They're going to say, oh, well, he's not running away, so there must be nothing wrong with what's happening with this intruder, and we're not going to do nothing about it. And this fucking kid kicks him in the stomach. He gets down to his knees like a bitch. Then he starts talking to him, and he's like, you're not going to go to the cops? I wasn't trying to steal it.
I wasn't going to steal it.
Oh, my God.
The ADR is fucking awful.
It's awful. To have him actually do the Van Damme...
to do that, yeah.
It is fucking atrocious.
That kid, you could tell he was speaking English.
Right.
But they dubbed in
that droll. Whatever. And it's like, why was this necessary? I just don't even... And then what's really rough about this movie is, you build it up, you talk to people about it, it's fucking amazing, dude. We gotta watch. Yeah, okay, well, let's put it on. And then you get to this scene, and you're like, you have to explain yourself. You have to be like, okay, so listen, I know this is fucked up and all that, but just keep going. This is just some weird guy they got. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's out of the movie in 4 minutes, dude. Trust me. And because everyone's like, dude, I'm not watching this. Once this scene comes on, it's very hard to get people to keep watching the movie, but obviously they're very glad they did. He convinces the parents to use him as a punching bag, and the kid kicks the shit out of him, and he goes, why don't you just give it up, round eye?
Whoa, round eye.
Holy shit. So somehow this kid kicks him, he goes to his knees earlier, he's kicking his ass on the mat, But when he goes to school, he gets his fucking ass handed to him, and then Frank, of all people, is the one that comes and does this fucking reverse spinning punch. Oh my god, did he get that from Kickboxer?
I was just getting ready to say, he learned very well from his brother in Kickboxer.
From the future, he learned.
Yeah.
What was that punch? Why was that necessary?
Oh.
Especially on when they're like seventh graders. Like, I'm pretty sure he would like fuck that kid up.
Yeah, it was just so. He awkwardly kicks their asses like I've never seen before. This kid can't do one fucking thing normal, right? He can't talk. He can't sit in the chair while his parents are talking to each other normal. He can't punch this kid normal. It is just so weird. I need to know more about this kid, what he's doing today. And he gets his ass kicked in a playground only to get up and say he needs to fight in the Kumite one day.
I want to make my father proud.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be too proud the way it's going so far.
Yeah, fight the Kumite someday.
Because the playground is, I'm just kicking ass everywhere I go.
That's just a notch below the Kumite, the playground.
And you're losing.
Right.
So the kid who looks nothing like Van Damme, thank God he's out of the movie. We speed up to Van Damme with this bizarre haircut to prove he's younger, I guess. I don't know.
Thank you. I have that in my notes. I have what is up with Van Damme's hair in this flashback scene. It's all fluffed up and shit. And that's what I've written down. Is it trying to make him look younger, I guess?
Yeah.
I didn't have it in my notes, but I did notice it. All right, I'm glad you guys brought that up.
Fluffy and curly and shit. Jesus.
Oh, it's horrible. So Shingo's dead. I mean, it's not explained how he died. Did he die in the Kumite?
Yeah, they don't say how he died, do they?
No. Well, fans speculate that is who Chong Li killed in the Kumite 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's the prequel.
Yeah, I don't know if I do believe it, because wouldn't Van Damme know? Like, he's like, yeah, this guy killed somebody. He kicked him in the throat, and he just watched him die. Like, Van Damme had no idea who Chong Li was. It was never brought up. He didn't say, this is for Shingo, or nothing. It immediately was all about Jackson and this, that, the other thing. So, I don't believe that that's how Shingo died. It would be the typical 80s revenge movie, but I don't think that's what's happening here.
I mean, I guess you could deduce that if you wanted to, but no, I never thought that.
Right. So we get to the training montage. Oh, yeah, so first this guy yells at me, goes, "You are not Japanese! You are not a Tanaka! You told me never to commit myself to one style, to do something that works." So that's why those guys were so freaked out later on when he goes, "You don't look like a Tanaka," because they must have heard this guy does not train anybody who's not Japanese. Right? Obviously?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's like, he would never do that. He would yell at you. So you get to the montage where Frank gets his ass kicked endlessly by his trainer there.
Yeah, so when they get to that scene where he's training with his sensei or whatever the fuck that guy's called in this movie, Shishimi or whatever the fuck it is, like everything they're doing back and forth, all the punches, all the kicks, and especially on Van Damme's end, looks so choreographed to me. Like, it doesn't look organic. It doesn't look to me like the guy is authentically like dipping and dodging. It's like Van Damme is. It looks like he's purposefully missing his kicks.
Well, he is. When
he's like trying to kick. That's what I'm saying. But it shouldn't look like that. It should look like this guy's like some wizard and it's just like getting out of the way of everything. But it looks like Van Damme is like on purpose missing everything and looking terrible. And like when that guy's hitting him in the stomach and the back with that big bamboo stick, Van Damme's just going, oh, 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 oh. And it's just like he knows every beat that's coming and he's just reacting how he's supposed to rather than what would actually happen. It just looks very robotic to me.
Yeah, but as far as the teacher part, when he looked at that chart and he was like showing attack here and he went like that and then came back with it, he's showing you that no matter where you attack, there's a counter move for it. So now you're going to attack this. So he is expecting it. And then he goes and does this, and this is what you do to that. Then if you go here, this is what you do to that. Then if you go here. So I think that part was supposed to look choreographed, but not where you're talking with the sticks and all that. That wasn't supposed to.
Right. It just looked like Van Damme knew he had these 5 reactions he had to do.
Right.
Ooh,
So Frank sets a table blindfolded with like the salt and pepper shaker and shit.
And the tea, pouring the tea.
And he goes to chop him in the face, and he blocks it. And then he looks at his wife like, "Wow, this guy's good."
Yeah, like he's developed these sixth sense type powers.
Well, the blindfold pays off in the end, obviously.
Yeah, it's foreshadowing. Obviously, it's just ridiculous that you would know that a punch is coming your way if you can't see it all. I mean, that's like Star Wars, the first Star Wars, when Luke's got that fucking blast shield on, and he's first learning how to use a lightsaber with that little floating robotic ball and shooting laser blast.
Right. So we get to another scene of someone, or I guess the first scene in his career, of someone pulling Van Damme's legs apart with a rope contraption.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this one's just to give him a split. It seems like he's supposed to just pull himself back together, but I guess it also helps you get a split.
I think it to show his flexibility also, right? Because doesn't he do the complete splits at one point in the Kumite? Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he comes up and hits that guy in the balls with that uppercut, because he's doing like a full splits, I feel like.
Yeah, and he does that fucking absurd leg kick that Alex sent the video.
God.
Oh yeah, where he kicks and his toes hit his forehead.
His toes, yeah.
That bothered me as a kid. I never liked that. So then we get to this is so funny. So as a kid, when I first watched this, and they were done with the training, and Frank is kneeling down on the ground, and the teacher walks over and he's like holding the sword like this, and he's walking slowly over. I was like, oh wow, so what, he's gonna cut his head off now because he's done with his training? That sounds stupid. I was like,
I've trained you well, student. Now I must behead you.
Now you die.
Right, I was like, is this what they do at the end when you finish it all? But like, yeah, luckily no. He just hands him the sword, and that's the end. Flashback is over, and you get on Shidoshi's deathbed.
All I just remember is "I will always be with you in spirit" when you're fighting, or whatever he says.
And that's it.
But they don't pay it off.
No, his flashback lasted 130 times longer than their conversation.
That, like I said in my notes, like, I couldn't believe that flashback was supposed to be a flashback. I thought that was like a training montage. But no, it was a training montage before the movie even actually fucking started.
Yeah, you forgot that it started off with him getting the bill of his hat chopped off.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and
I don't understand how, when he does cut this kid's hat off, why does that make him think this kid has a fighting spirit?
Because he doesn't flinch. That's it.
Right. It would make me think that he's an idiot and he has no reflexes and doesn't see anything coming.
Right.
I mean, it would have been more impressive if he would have put his hand up and the guy would have cut his hand off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Could easily have just been like, huh, and then he's lost the whole fucking, exactly.
And he just slices his whole forearm.
He didn't see it coming. It wasn't that he just didn't flinch.
Pure luck.
Jesus Christ.
Like, wow, he's going out on a limb here. No pun intended.
I was going to say literally.
He would have been out of a limb. So, yeah, that was just weird how he came to that.
Yeah.
Jackson gets on this like bus and he's like, "Hey babe, want to go out with a real big man?"
I was saying, can we talk about Ray Jackson for a minute?
Yes, please.
I fucking love this guy.
I know.
Same.
He's the dude. He's in Revenge of the Nerds, right?
Yep.
Yeah, see, when I first saw this, that's all I knew him from was Revenge of the Nerds, which in that movie, he's just this, well, kind of like this movie too, he's just this big, like, dumb, brainless oaf.
Right.
So, but he's still like, I don't know how to describe it, not like a pussy in Revenge of the Nerds. He's just like this mindless idiot. But in this, he's actually like a badass who knows how to like just club the shit out of people. So I remember the first time I watched this, I was like, oh my God, Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds is a badass.
Yeah.
I love this because I just love how, and this is the thing I like, I love when two badass dudes like become buddies. Like, I love that him and Van Damme hit it off so easily over that video game that Alex apparently has in his own house because he's rich.
Karate Champ.
Of course he does.
No, I love that. And this guy, I just love how he's just always crushing beers. Just every single scene. And he's just like, he's honestly kind of the heart of the movie. to me.
Oh, he's the only part of this movie that gives it any emotional weight whatsoever.
Right, yeah. But I just love this guy so much. I'm just so happy that he's here.
Yeah, they're playing Karate Champ. I have that on an arcade. I could play it just like they did.
Are you as good at it?
No, I'm not. I'm not like Van Damme was, where he does like a revolving kick. I don't know how he does that. Yeah, Jackson. I met Jackson about 5 years ago, and
of course you did.
One of the main things he told me was that when he did Bloodsport 2, that the director walked out on the movie like pretty early on in it, and he ended up directing most of the entire movie.
He's in Bloodsport 2?
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of those. Knowing that fact, I have to watch that.
There are sequels to Bloodsport?
I have all 4 of them, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's multiple.
What?
I haven't seen any of them, though. Alex has seen them all.
I knew there were sequels to Kickboxer, but Bloodsport?
Yes.
The new one just came out this week.
What the fuck?
The last Kumite, is that a direct, not direct, but that's part of the lineage of Bloodsport, I guess?
Yeah.
Did you watch it yet?
No, it's for $4 on Amazon Prime. And
but you can pirate it, right? I can.
I don't know if you can this soon. Maybe.
Oh, I can.
Mind-blowing, there are more than one Bloodsport movies.
Supposedly there's amazing 80s music in this new one. Like, someone did a fantastic job with the 80s feel musically. But
oh, yes.
I don't think it's anywhere near this score, which we can get into, too, unless you want to wait till we're fighting to get into it. But, yeah. That reporter chick, I met her, too. And she said that Van Damme is very strange. What are you laughing at now?
Nothing.
What's wrong with you guys?
Because you've done everything and you've met everybody.
It's so stupid. Oh my god. I'm into this stuff.
No, that picture that you sent us earlier this morning of her, how old is that picture?
18, I think.
She has aged phenomenal.
You mean 2018?
Yeah.
She has aged phenomenally well.
Yeah, no, she does
based on that picture.
Yeah, doesn't look really like 5 years older than she did
she
in this
looks
movie.
older, obviously, but not a lot.
No, not at all. Yeah.
So what'd you say she said about this movie?
She said Van Damme was a very strange person.
Okay, I totally believe that.
Yeah, 100% believe that.
Ray Jackson and Frank meet at the arcade, like we said, playing Karate Champ. If you want to play that game, it's called Karate Champ.
Just go to Alex's house. Because he's got every game known to man, of course.
So, like I said, these guys openly just talk about the Kumite. Good sworn to secret society there. Helmer and Rollins are looking for Frank. So this is where they meet Lynn, who is like their chaperone, and he brings them to the Kowloon walled city. Now, I have gotten into this extensively. I bought a book that was made about this place. It was like $60, like very exclusive. Like, I was obsessed with the Kowloon walled city. And it all started...
About that shithole house, the houses stacked on top of each other and stuff?
Yep.
Wow.
It's a shithole, dude. It was literally... He actually... I'm not going to get into it. It's going to be a long enough review, but Lynn actually explains the history of this place while he's walking with them.
Right.
And even mentions how the triads are, they run it, and he was not lying about that. When they totally told the truth that the triads are allowing us to hold the Kumite here and all that stuff. The triads do run that whole shithole. When you see them walking down those hallways and it's fucking water dripping and cables in the ceiling and all that nasty, gross shit, that is exactly really where people lived, where they raised babies, where they come home every day, where they eat, where they sleep. There's drug dens, there's prostitution, there's dentists that have no license. There's everything, and none of them are sanctioned. Nobody has licenses to practice anything. It's completely illegal. Like, there's no law there. So, like, police really don't come down there for anything unless, like, somebody was murdered. Then they'd call them and, like, somebody would show up if it's in their jurisdiction, I guess. But that was a crazy place to live, and they just kept stacking places to live on top of each other, and that's why it looks like that. It just looks like a shithole because they just kept building on top, and they eventually had to stop building because an airport is down the road from there, and the planes would travel like right over the top of people, like their kitchens would shake. That's how close the planes were getting. So they made them stop building after like 13 floors.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the structure, the apartments or houses or whatever on the lower levels, how could those withstand all the weight if they kept stacking? I mean, that's different than building a high-rise apartment building from scratch. You can build it knowing that the lower levels are going to have more weight on them. But if you just start and you keep adding shit on top of it, how can you reinforce those lower levels to where they wouldn't collapse on themselves?
Supposedly it was guys who kind of knew what they were doing enough to get it done, but like none of it was in spec. Like none of it would have been approved by anybody.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah, and it would have eventually collapsed, but they eventually knocked it down in 1993. So it no longer exists. There's a lot of photos and stuff, documentaries online, but yeah, it doesn't exist anymore.
You said you had a whole book on this?
Yeah, extensive book.
Shit.
Yep, huge too. It's like one of those really big ones, so the pictures look good and stuff like that.
Have you ever seen any 9/11 documentaries?
All of them, yeah. Actually, here it is. I didn't realize I'm right next to it. This is...
Holy shit.
Holy fuck.
Oh, that's like a big-ass coffee table book.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And that whole book is about that housing structure?
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Look at that. That was the rooftops that people used to hang out on.
Yeah, that's where Ghoul and I grew up.
So yeah, no, I was way into the Kowloon walled city, and they have like tributes to it in places. It's now a big park. It doesn't even exist anymore. But yeah, if you want to look into it, go ahead. I don't want to go too long, but yeah. So they made believe the Kumite was being held there, which is perfect. Like, no sunlight gets into a lot of these people's homes. Like, think about it. Like, if you look at the structure, these people never see daylight ever for 16 hours a day if they stay at home and live in the wrong place. No daylight gets in there. It's really creepy and weird. So they enter the Kumite, and
I like the when they're going through the alley to get into the Kumite, that big Chinese guy that goes, "Okay, USA." His head, he's got the most gigantic head I've ever fucking seen in my life. Like, if you get on Google and type in Neanderthal man, this fucking guy's head will come up. It is absolutely fucking, like, it's bigger than Andre the Giant's head.
Oh yeah, it is. Okay, USA. And then Jackson makes fun of him right in his face. So they bust Frank's balls about the invitation, like we said, because he's not Tanaka, and yet Jackson is here somehow with no discernible fighting skills. I have no idea how he got here.
Yeah, why would they invite Jackson? All he did, I mean, how did he make his mark in the fighting world? What did he do?
It's got to be just like being brute force. That's it.
Bar fights?
But you have to be invited to the Kumite. How would they have even known about this fucking guy?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I really never thought about that until this watch, but I was like, how did this fucking guy, who's just a brawler and a mauler and a clubber, how did he get invited to this thing?
I don't know. Well, to prove Frank should be there, he has to do the Dim Mak, Death Touch, which is you lay 6 bricks on top of each other, you smash down on them, and you only break the bottom one.
Isn't that funny? He had to prove himself, but Jackson didn't have to prove anything. I think they said he had to prove that his teacher was actually that guy that he claimed it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
If he's really your teacher, then you'll know how to do this.
Yeah, it's almost like what if you're coming from like a family or like a clan, you have to prove yourself that you're actually part of
If you're
that.
coming from Miyagi-Do, you'll know how to do the crane kick.
Exactly. If you're coming from Eagle Fang, you gotta know how to crush Core's leg.
Who cares if Bruce Springsteen is Ishidoshi? If he is Tanaka, he'll know how to do this. So it's an amazing scene, one of the most memorable scenes in these types of movies history.
Oh yeah.
The brick explodes and flies out, and like no one's excited except for Jackson. Everyone else is just standing there. Some people are clapping. They're doing a golf.
Chong Li gives him credit.
Yeah, he says, very good.
Yeah.
But Brick not hit back.
Yeah, and when you sent me and Ghoul the YouTube video of the real Frank Dukes doing the brick trick in real life, it was nowhere near as impressive as this thing. Because I watched it and then he did it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was.
He had two thin, like those gray cement blocks or tile, whatever you want to call them. And was it even the bottom one that broke when he did that? I can't even remember.
I don't even remember. I think so.
I guess it was, but it was only two. But in this movie, they had 5 regular, like, red bricks stacked on top of each other. He hits the top one, and somehow the bottom one explodes into, like, 20,000 pieces.
It's a transfer of energy.
Right.
Oh, and they do have Jackson do his thing. He takes one of the bricks and he bashes it over his forehead.
Yeah, but that was by his choice, not theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a requirement. So how do you feel about Chong Li talking? There are some people who feel that it takes away the mystique. Like, you know, Tong Po, when we review that, you'll see that he only has one line.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to look at it in reverse sequential order, maybe compared to Tong Po, since Tong Po only has one line. But it never bothered me back when I was a kid watching it that Chong Li says, what, like 3 or 4 lines maybe in the whole movie?
3, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are, or one of them is just his own name when he's trying to hype the crowd up at the end.
He says his name?
Does he actually say his name?
Yeah, he tries to get them to start chanting Chong Li after.
But he says it though?
I'm pretty sure he does. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Well, there is one point where it was like, woo! Woo! Right? Remember that?
That might be it.
I just thought of him as like a crazy guy in a way where he don't care how he, like, look at the faces he makes. Like, he's like that. Like,
oh, yeah.
That's just him because, well, what are you going to do about it? You know, like, he could kind of do anything. And it never bothered me in my life. Like, because they were all, I don't know if they're overdubbed or whatever, but they all sound great.
Oh, they are. They're dubbed for sure, but it doesn't look or sound like as ridiculously fake as the shit in Kickboxer.
Or the shit in the beginning of this movie with the lieutenant or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that guy.
That was horrible. So this is just very good, but break not him. And then you are next. And then, like, I break you like you break my record. Now I break your friend. Like, that, none of that bothers me. I don't think it takes anything away from Chong Li.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get to the scene at the bar with the blonde and the Asian thugs or gangsters, whatever the fuck they are.
Hussein, yeah.
And they're like basically manhandling her. And Frank, the guy's getting ready to hit her. Frank grabs his arm just as this guy was getting ready to slap her Puff Daddy style. And the one guy calls him the American shithead who does tricks with bricks. For some reason, I didn't remember that line, and that made me laugh this time. Tricks with bricks.
Would you risk filling this guy's hand with another coin when you stole it out of it? Like, what if he wasn't paying attention to what kind of coin was in his hand?
Before that, the ADR, or the dubbing, for fucking Hussein.
What kind of bet?
Like, there's no way that is that guy's voice.
No.
It's terrible.
Very good. What? I'm not going to bed with him. Yes, we do that. Then she's going with me.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. So he does the snatching his thing because he pulled fish out of the water and stuff. So that's how he's able to do this.
At least they tie all that shit back in.
Yeah, they do. They do good.
To give it a purpose.
Yeah.
He invites her to dinner and dick the following night. She accepts. So Jackson goes into the room to see how he's doing. He's doing a split between 2 chairs, and he's, like, meditating. And this comes back. It's weird, though. He says, you do this till you can meditate and not feel or hear anything except your own energy. Meanwhile, after he's done talking, he's like, are you ready, Frank? He's still meditating, and then he gets up and he goes, I'm ready. So that shows that you were paying attention to him.
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't in some deep meditative state where he was blocking everything out.
No.
because he hurt Jackson.
So he never got to that point yet. So every 5 years, the greatest fighters come together. Again, how is Jackson there? So it's 3 days of fighting. It's like a bracket type system.
Yeah, that's something else I want to see. I want to see the full bracket, just like they do for the college in March Madness, where they have all the teams up there. I want to see all the fighters and how they went on their path to the final fight.
Right.
Because obviously Frank and Chong Li were on completely opposite ends of the bracket to meet in the finals.
What a quinky dink.
Yeah.
So, again, we have that betting system that I cannot focus on, just like Lionheart.
Yeah, I don't understand how that works.
Is this the movie where the typical like stereotype of Asians smoking and betting began? Because it's in this and so many other movies, and then there's like, I know I reference this a lot, but Always Sunny in Philadelphia in like the the second season, they're forced to coach a basketball team, and Danny DeVito's has like a bunch of Asians who like start betting on it, and all they're doing is smoking and waving fucking dollar bills around. I'm like, is this where the stereotype started?
Yeah, how does that work? It's just like you feed money to this one guy, and then he's responsible for like doling it all out. I mean,
well, then there's at one point in this one when one of the guys gets kicked off the fucking mat and he's like basically dead, and they all just throw like dollar bills on him. I'm like, right, he's dead though. Like,
right. Yeah, it's weird. The way to win is a knockout. The guy says uncle, like he quits, or you throw him off the runway.
He's got to say, Mate!
Just like that. So, Tong Po is in the first match. He does not fight like Tong Po at all. He is not charismatic at all. It's amazing to believe he was the same guy as in Kickboxer.
Crazy.
So Jackson's in the next fight. He just like runs up to a guy and pounds his nose into his face.
He has no fighting style. It's just all brute strength. It's like as long as he can get his hands on someone and then just club the shit out of them. That's it.
He's basically like, his move is like he just does this. He puts his two fucking fists together and just fucking clubs.
That was the worst ever. You guys couldn't think of anything else?
Right.
He wins, and then he immediately starts taunting Chong Li.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing that to the guy who killed a guy in the last thing, and you know about it?
I'm gonna kill you, man! And Chong Li looks around like, are you fucking talking to me? And he looks at him, just kind of smirks and nods like, oh, okay, yeah.
Could we not praise enough Bolo Ying for, like, even his moments sitting on the fucking bleachers, the faces he makes, like when Jackson called him out, all of his faces, all of his reactions to Frank fighting.
Are you guys, have you ever seen him in another movie besides this?
Yeah, it was called Double Impact with Van Damme.
Oh, he's in that? Oh, wow, okay, so... I haven't seen that, but about 4 or 5 years ago, I did go back and watch that Bruce Lee film called The Last Dragon that came out in like 75. And he's skinnier, but he's still a badass, and he's really, really good in that movie. So I'm sure when this movie came out, a lot of people back then who were like, you know, our age now were like, oh my God, that's the dude from The Last Dragon. You know, they knew him. Whereas to me, my whole life, he's just Chong Li. I mean, that's all I know him from.
I saw him last year. I went to meet him, but he had on this weird green hat and these glasses and this weird, like, these clothes that I just was like, oh, so he's going to look like that in my picture? And then it was $85 to take a picture with him. And I was like, listen, I realize he's not going to be alive much longer. And this is a chance to meet like a major legendary guy in my life. But I just can't pay for this picture. And I didn't do it.
$85?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I said I couldn't do it. I just can't do it. But, yeah, like, he has such fucking swag in this movie. I don't know how he became so cool. It qualifies as cool today. Like, when you watch this, he seems like the coolest guy in this whole movie.
Oh, he is someone like, if you take any movie ever made and throw all the villains into like one big pot, he would probably make my top 3 of like the ultimate badasses, to where if I could be this guy and just walk into any place I want and just turn to everyone and say, fuck you, come get some. Like, he's one of those guys.
Well, he also does that thing with his pecs too.
Yeah.
The entire movie, he does that like jiggle, and I'm like, he's just like, that was definitely improvised, but he does it every single time he gets in that fucking ring.
But
it's
just the way he carries himself, yeah.
I mean, I'm speculating, but I'm assuming he was on steroids, because he was absolutely fucking enormous.
I imagine.
Well, his upper body versus his lower body, yeah.
I mean, his pecs, his shoulders, and his arms, he is huge. I would kill to look like that, dude.
His chest is so long and big.
Like, if you could give me, like, you know how Rocky or Stallone looked in Rocky IV, how shredded he was? I would rather look like Chong Li. Chong Li's not as lean, obviously, as Rocky was, but he is fucking enormous.
Yeah. No, he looked perfect as Chong Li.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like his swag during the fights, like he always like the way he like he just comes off like, this is not a challenge for me. And then he's like, no, to the crowd. Then he lands the last punch on the guy or whatever. Like, every little thing he does is great. It's really bizarre.
How he fucking blows snot out his nose.
Right.
Yeah,
that's just like, just a little fuck you, like, oh, just another day in the park.
It's weird. Like, so good. I just don't get it.
He's incredible.
Chong Li now fights this guy where, like, he's like holding him in his arm, and he's popping his head from his body, and you hear the crack. Like, there's like 3 guys he fights in this movie that I thought he killed every one of them. So Frank happens to fight Hussein, the coin guy. And he just grabs his hand, he keeps chopping him in the face, then he kind of like knocks him out. Then it's a weird moment where, like, he gets up, but Van Damme is almost like, just stay down, or else you're just gonna get punched in your fucking face. There's no point in fighting.
Another great ADR moment is right before that fight starts, when they're face to face. That guy goes, "Now I show you some trick or two." It's so terrible.
So he like fakes that he's knocked out, and then the match is over in 12 seconds. And then Van Damme's like bowing to people, and then he just gets up, and Van Damme hits him again. He lands on the mat again, and Van Damme bows again. And then he's like, holy shit, he broke the fucking world record in his first fight.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. Chong Li just set the record previously, the world record in his previous fight.
Right.
So then Frank, in his fight, breaks that record.
By 2 seconds.
So obviously, he pisses Chong Li off, yeah.
Yeah.
First fight of the Kumite, and he broke the fucking world record.
That's my buddy. And I like how this guy keeps slapping the guys in front of him, Jackson, as if they're okay with this. And they're like, why are you touching me? Yeah, so we get a great montage. There's one moment where
where the fight to survive comes on.
Fight to survive.
That song is so... That should have been in a Rocky movie. It's absolutely incredible. And that montage scene they show while that's playing... of just all the random fighters just, beating the shit out of each other. That scene is amazing.
Right. I love it.
I love this fucking song. 100% gonna play that on my speaker tonight when I'm fucking hanging out. But also, like, it ties in, if we can talk about it now, the score to this movie.
Oh, let's get to the score. My God.
Fucking amazing. Like, is this... I don't know if you guys... I don't know about Chris or Alex, but are you guys like vinyl collectors? Like, do you guys get stuff on vinyl still?
No, I never went down that rabbit hole because I knew if I started, I would spend thousands of dollars.
Right,
so I never even went down that way.
Yeah, but Alex, are you what you are? Do you have the soundtrack though? Or do you know? If
Alex has it, and it's autographed by every actor in this movie,
even Hussein.
It's even broken in half.
Yeah, Chong Li broke in half and handed it to me. No, Jackson did. He broke it on his head. He goes,
it's smashed on his head.
So, yeah, great fight montage. How about when Van Damme's just standing there and he keeps kicking the guy in the face?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's so
beautiful.
Great.
And the fucking monkey guy.
Oh, the monkey guy, yeah.
He's hopping around on the ground, just like, what do you do with someone like that? Like, how do you react?
I'm not gonna lie, that guy had some pretty awesome moves. Like, as far as like jumping around
You
goes.
clap your ears and stuff.
Yeah, or like jumping around, but then he's facing that giant Asian guy who just is
that dude's
a
built
fucking
like a
behemoth.
fucking tank, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's brick shithouse. Like, he's just fucking huge.
It shows Jackson picking up some guy and completely throws him off the mat. Go home!
Yeah, go home. Yeah, more intricate fighting skills.
Really, that's all you have to do is just knock someone off the mat.
I was gonna say, yeah, all you
one
get
of the 3 rules to lose a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paco is fighting, and he pushes the ref just because the ref is checking out on a guy who's knocked out. Like, I guess that's allowed. I
feel like in any organized sport, as soon as you hit the ref, you're like out, you're done.
So the referee in this movie, do you guys remember Montel Williams? He had his own talk show in the bald black guy had his own talk show in the 90s and the early 2000s. Yes. That is the only thing I can think of every time I watch this movie. This guy looks just like Montel Williams.
Oh my God. He does.
He really does. And he's got a fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi cloak on.
How about when the big shithouse guy, the brick shithouse, he breaks the guy's back over his leg?
Oh, dude, snaps him in half, dude.
Yeah.
So we get to Henry and Rollins, and they're looking, and they're eating on this boat or something, and the guy goes, "No, I never eat here."
Forrest Whitaker is so happy in this scene to be eating this food. Like, he looks like he's about to jump out of his skin when he's like picking up this food with chopsticks. He is so happy to be eating right there. And and the other guy's like, "Yeah, I never eat here," or whatever it was he said.
Right, I never eat here.
Forrest Whitaker looks so young. I mean, he was so young in this movie. This was definitely the first movie I ever saw him in.
He was in Platoon before this.
Okay, so I've seen Platoon, but I'm not super.
But he's like, again, that movie's like an ensemble movie. He's like in
background or something.
Yeah, not even background. He's in it prominently for 2 or 3 scenes. That's it.
Okay.
But he wasn't Forrest Whitaker then.
Right.
Forrest Whitaker is what happens when you drink NyQuil and DayQuil at the same time.
One eye stays open, one eye shuts.
You do lean.
So they confront Frank at the hotel, and Jackson's like, "Who the hell are these 2 scumbags?" Like, dude, they could hear you.
Right.
Just kidding. No. So then he goes, "Hey, listen,
no,
pal."
No, they could. Like, he's right next to them.
"Listen, pal, stay out of it." And he goes, "I ain't your pal, dick face."
He gives no fucks about anything, dude.
I love it.
Or anybody.
And then we get to the Mentos chase through Hong Kong.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Frank takes off running. They chase him through the city, and Frank's just toying with them. Like, he's standing up on those little concrete.
He keeps stopping.
Risers or just
the thing where he runs
as like a fuck you.
Yeah, he runs around the car and then he dips back and then he doubles back and then he's like, "Oh, here I am!"
Right. People who are listening to this right now, get on YouTube and Google Bloodsport Mentos. And if you're old enough to remember Mentos commercials, that will make you laugh because it's perfect.
Perfect. So they run across boats in the water, and these guys are in the boat. I mean, they are they have disregard for everything. And then these 2 idiots fall off the boat, and the one spits that disgusting fucking water out of his mouth.
Well, the crazy part is that they're after him for. We don't get a specific reason. All they say is that you're far, they don't want him to get hurt in the Kumite. They say you're far more.
He's
of an
too
asset.
valuable or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's what were they fucking This was is this a prequel to fucking?
What were they preserving him for?
Yeah. Was this
what was their goal for him?
Yeah, was he supposed to be a super soldier or some shit? Were they doing some Universal Soldier type shit with him?
Yeah, they know what's coming up down the pike.
And they were, I'm assuming those 2 were chosen to go over there after him, so I'm assuming they're supposed to be good detectives. Yeah. But in that scene where they're chasing after him, they're like these bumbling fucking idiots.
Oh, they're idiots.
I'm surprised they didn't play that fucking clown noise from Halloween 5 when they that cop
they should have
or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. Or the Benny Hill music.
Yes, oh my God, that'd be perfect.
Why wouldn't you get real guys? I mean, I don't know.
No, exactly, yeah.
But Janice and Frank go to dinner, and all this fucking twat could talk about is the Kumite. She doesn't want to talk about anything else. It is like unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
So he knows how to shut her up. He sticks his glamour.
Yeah, they cut to the next morning, and it shows her waking up, and she's all smiley and happy, and she looks over, and it shows Frank Dux.
Like, put up your dukes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Standing over on the other side of the room, naked, except he's got his bikini underwear positioned right under his ass, but he's not moving when they cut to him, like he's frozen. And then he pulls him up. It's almost like the director was like, wait, action. But they forgot to edit it that way, so because when they cut to him, he's just standing there completely still, holding his little underwear under his sculpted ass.
Are you sure you just didn't pause it and you thought he was standing still?
No, I paused it, but they definitely fucked up on the editing on that part because he is not moving when they first cut to him.
Oh, dude, I took so many screen grabs of that moment.
That was completely just a total ploy on Van Damme's part to show how jacked he was.
So after he gets done bedding her down, he still says he can't help her. And then she still kissed him after that. Like, can you imagine giving it up to a guy to get into whatever? And he says, sex was great, but I still can't get you in the Kumite. And she's like, dude, seriously? But no, she still kisses him. So we get to where Jackson smashes the brick on his own head. Janice shows up, though, with that dude who's, like, taking bets, who keeps, like, how do you feel today, Dukes? You good? You look good? Yeah, you're gonna win, right? You're my man. Okay, you're my man, Dukes.
I like that guy.
Did she sleep with him, too?
Yeah, it's on the deleted scenes on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, you're bullshit.
He gave her his yum-yum sauce, his dragon roll.
Cream of some young guy.
Cream of some young guy. And hold on, the chick, she shows up to the Kumite and she says,
this isn't the first time I had a sneak.
Or go undercover. Like, would you look at her and think I guess she could be a hooker, but other than that, why would she be there? Unless she was like a narc or an undercover.
Well, she's a side piece.
Nobody would think she's a narc when she's leaning over talking into a tape recorder.
Arm candy.
Yeah, I guess.
Why is she talking into a tape recorder in front of everybody?
Well, those guys were way more there's no women in the audience aside from her. Like, all those guys are there because they have a horrible gambling addiction, clearly.
Yeah, well, wouldn't that make them all be staring at that one chick, and then she pulls out a tape recorder that's bigger than Zach Morris's cell phone?
And we skipped over this, but I do like the part right before this when Jackson does the quote brick technique. The top one just completely crumbles.
Yeah, it goes top one, right?
Yeah, and then he picks it up and smashes on his head. He goes, see? Not a scratch on it.
Yeah, neither is this. So Chong Li fights Tong Po. Not the fight you'd imagine if you're looking for those two to fight each other, because it's not Tong Po, but he does get his shin cracked so bad that it pops out of his skin.
It is so hard to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked in a hospital for 25 years, and that's what we call an open fracture, NBD.
Yeah. Oof.
NBD, no big deal.
Well,
little medical jargon for you there.
I can watch like all these movies, like gory or not, whatever, but sometimes like stuff like that just seems so real. It's just like, oof.
Oh yeah.
Like, no thanks.
Yeah, shit like that bothers me way more than seeing like someone's head cut off or shit from horror movies.
Yeah, well, that's also like just
shit like that.
Yeah, and like also like just watch like coming off a kickboxer, like shins and all, that being like the prime spot, like
yeah, that hurts.
Because I can just feel what my shin would feel like if you were kicking a tree or if someone kicked your leg like that. It's awful.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've bumped my shin like on a fucking trailer hitch on the back of a car before, and it feels like someone shot you in your fucking leg, dude.
Oh, you go down to the ground. This is where she takes out the tape recorder, and so you're telling me you couldn't remember the leg part on your own, you needed to say that into a tape recorder. A guy just, his leg just popped out of his skin. And, like, how do you not, you couldn't remember that? You got to say that into the tape recorder? Like, honey, that'll last me a lifetime, let alone the rest of the day till you get home.
Yeah, well, is she going to get home and do a write-up and be like, oh, shit, I forgot about the fucking broken leg?
So Chong Li fights this black guy who's wearing like this all-white gi, and this is where he cracks the back of his head at the end of the fight, and somehow the guy's not dead. If you really hit somebody in the head, there's this boxer who kept getting punched in the back of his head back in the day. He was like a lightweight boxer, and the guy was doing it like deliberately. I think it's called like rabbit punches or
rabbit punching, yeah.
And he's like brain dead today. And he was like a champion when the guy was doing it. It's a really weird, sad story. So, like, if Chong Li really did that to the back of this black guy's head, he would be fucked up permanently. Van Damme fights the black guy who...
Yeah, that tall African guy.
Cuts his throat with his finger.
Throat slit.
And he, like, crunches his hands and cracks his knuckles like Tong Po. He just kicks him off the ramp. Now, I set my phone up. He beats this guy in 7.6 seconds.
Yeah, why wouldn't that be the record?
Right. Is it because it wasn't a knockout? It was just a win? But isn't that still something?
He kicked him off the mat, right?
No, he hits him once and then I think he gets back up.
Well, yeah, but then he does. It's still 7 seconds till he kicks him off the mat.
Oh, for the whole sequence. Oh, okay. Shit. I know they have all the stats in the end credits of the real Frank Dukes.
Frank Dukes, yeah.
Well, that's debatable. Like, people are probably, like, saying, I can't believe these guys aren't talking about... Now, listen, we all know that the real Frank Dukes is a total bullshitter. Most of this shit's fabricated, and he's a liar to the umpteenth degree. But I'll tell you this. That's all well and good. I don't care, really, because I'm not in the martial arts world, and this doesn't insult me.
Yeah, because it said at the end of the movie, it said the real Frank Dukes fought 329 times in the Kumite and never lost a fight.
Bullshit. And
he was like reigned from... Well, it's funny because if it happens every 5 years, it said from like 75 to 80, so he was only a champion, what is that, technically once?
Yeah, to get 329 fights, he would have had to fought how many Kumites?
Oh, like 20 of them.
They're only once every 5 years? I mean...
I don't even think they were Kumites. I think they were just fights in general.
Oh, okay.
So it's like he's just a guy, really. He's not that impressive.
Well, here's what I'll say. Go to Joe Blow Originals on YouTube and go to WTF Really Happened to Bloodsport. And it's this whole short, it's like 14 minutes, documentary on the real Frank Dukes. I've known this for years. I just don't care because, listen, even if he's a total scam artist and built himself up and created this whole thing, he still
did this.
Gave us one of the greatest movies ever made. I mean, in our opinions, we like dumb movies. I don't mean like it's like Citizen Kane.
I mean, Bloodsport's up there for a lot of people. I know a lot of. I'll shout out a lot of my friends looking forward to this episode. Bloodsport kicks ass.
Right. No, most everybody I know is obsessed with Bloodsport.
Yeah, like to the point where we'll call Van Damme Bloodsport. Like, remember when Bloodsport kicked fucking that other dude's ass?
Dude, it was in Cobra Kai. They were watching Bloodsport in the drive-in movie theater.
That's right. Yeah.
Like,
shit.
It's huge. It's a favorite, and despite. You're not gonna go to the cops? Like, even with him in the movie, it's still amazing, like, it is what it is. So, yeah, I thank Frank Dukes. I don't care that he's a total liar. Whatever. What does that mean to me? So, you get Chong Li versus Matthew McConaughey. Like I said, that fight just ended for no reason.
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah. And then Van Damme is now fighting that sumo... whatever he called.
Giant Asian guy, yeah, like the Asian Andre the Giant almost.
And he's the one who bear hugged the monkey guy till he cracked his back, right?
Cracked his back, yeah.
So he does the death touch to this guy. If you convey the brick thing to what he's doing, so did he crush all the bones back to his spine? Like, I guess the transfer of energy was it hit his stomach and it would break a spine or something? Like, what are we to believe that the death touch does on a human body?
Yeah, I mean, That has to be, because that the brick thing doesn't come into play, at least in my memory, any other point in the movie. The way his palm is when he punches that brick is just exactly how it is when he hits that guy in the stomach.
Right.
Yeah.
But the guy was fine.
The guy hits him in a bear hug, and Van Damme like headbutts him 3 times. And I never understood the headbutting thing, because aren't you at as much of a risk of knocking yourself out if you headbutt someone?
Yes.
I mean, it's not like if you headbutt someone, you feel no pain. I mean, it's your fucking cranium against their cranium.
Oh, the idea of headbutting fucking just sounds painful as it is. Like, in anything, it just looks like, I don't think that's like a valuable, like...
Yeah, arsenal, and you're fighting...
Yeah, no, it's like you're taking a huge risk.
Oh, yeah. But listen, he was going to get crunched anyway. You might as well do it.
True.
And then he drops down and fucking uppercuts that guy right in his balls. That was
he uses the death touch on the guy, but it doesn't work. And then so he uses the death touch basically on his fucking
drops down in the splits, uppercuts him in the balls, and that was the kill shot, I think.
And he steals it. He stole it for Lionheart. Remember the first fight in New York? And he goes, they're still talking about that fight in New York.
One punch, yeah.
Yeah,
they're still talking about it. It was one punch, a dick shot.
What are they saying besides a sentence? They're talking about it. So now Chong Li versus Jackson. So Van Damme tells him Chong Li's sweet in the gut and all that stuff. That's how Barrett Dice surprised him. So I guess Chong Li does not skip chest day, clearly, but he does skip sit-up day because he's soft in the midsection.
He's vulnerable to the body, yes.
Yeah. So Jackson is not concerned in the least. He's even like, you sound like my mother.
Yeah, it's just like another day in the park for him. He don't give a shit.
No. So can you describe the first 13 seconds of this fight?
Well, they're just kind of trading punches, and then Jackson fucking clasps his hands together, hits him on top of the head.
Bonks him on the head.
And then hits him on the side of the face with his clasped fists, and actually does damage. Like, Chong Li goes down.
How is that possible?
Yeah, I know. And then Jackson immediately, instead of finishing Chong Li off, just starts running around the fucking mat. Yeah, I got him! Yeah!
Yeah, well, Van Damme and the other guy are saying, like, yo, no, finish it.
Keep going!
And he's...
Right.
Yeah, keep going. Like, what the fuck?
Would Chong Li... If Jackson continued what he was supposed to be doing, would he have beaten Chong Li?
Well, if he would, you mean if he wouldn't have like let up on him?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he had him fucking hurt and knocked down. If he would have just kept mauling him, he'd have got him.
And no one sees a problem with that?
Well, I mean, it's highly unlikely, but that's why they had him stop and start fucking playing to the crowd, so Chong Li could get back in the mix.
I just find it hard to swallow any of this. The fighting looked like a 5-year-old was fighting somebody.
You mean the way he was punching and stuff? Yeah, yeah.
It looked like something in kindergarten.
Right.
Yet that's a technique that takes out Chong Li? Chong Li? Sorry.
It's you know, that's the thing, the different styles, maybe they're not familiar with it, you know?
Oh, I'm sure he probably was like, what is he doing? Oh my god, what's he doing over here?
So it's unfamiliar to him, he doesn't know how to block it, and it's just like pure caveman fucking style.
How about when he runs over and his hands are just straight up in the air, and then Chong Li kicks him in the stomach? Like he runs up to him like, ah! When Jackson runs up to him. You never noticed that? I think here.
Oh yeah, I noticed it.
I sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
So look at the first clip of this guy running over. What the fuck was he going to do? He pounds his knee. Is that not the most absurd thing you've ever seen?
I know.
Chong Li would have been shunned in the fighting circles if everybody watched this.
Yeah, lost to that fucking guy.
And he lost. They'd be like, dude.
Well, it's funny that in both Bloodsport and Kickboxer, I think it's hilarious that they don't go for like the full punch where in any other of these like action guys movies, they would have straight up killed the guy's like best friend or whatever. Like in Kickboxer, they would have killed the brother instead of just paralyzing him. In this one, they would have killed Ray instead of just fucking putting him in the hospital with a concussion where he's still drinking fucking beer in the hospital at the end.
Yeah, that's smart to do.
I think it's weird. Yeah, what I think is funny is that like he has all this like shit, but he has all this vengeance, but it's not for anything like
major.
I wouldn't say real. Yeah, not for anything major. Yeah, exactly.
Death, right.
Right.
Yeah, so he's in the hospital bed. He starts fighting with the chick he met like 2 days ago. Like, how come he has to keep fighting with people in a hospital that he just met? He has to fight with Winston in the next movie. I don't want any fucking part of it. And now he's fighting with her, but I'm not going to stand there and watch it, which she actually does. But, yeah. So he says, I want to get back at Chong Li. She said, do you think that's what he wants? Someone to share a hospital bed with? So she goes to the police and rats out the Kumite. I guess tells them where it is and everything. Says Frank Dukes and everything.
Well, it's like so fucked up. Like she's dying to know about this thing, and then as soon as she sees what the fuck it's about, she's like the first one to motherfuck it and like rat it out. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like
and shut it down.
Yeah, like you're so like you could have this fucking story of your fucking career or whatever about the secret society of fighting, and yet here you are. As soon as you see what it's really about, you're like, oh my god, I gotta tell the cops. Like, ugh.
Yeah, like, and then they show Frank on a train, just like reflecting, thinking about Jackson and the Kumite, all that shit. It's just like the scene from Rocky IV, No Easy Way Out, when he's driving the car and he's thinking about Apollo and his wife and all that shit.
Yeah,
this was lifted straight from that fucking movie. That scene.
Yeah,
I don't remember the song they were playing in this movie.
Oh, On My Own.
Oh, okay.
I never meant to leave.
It's another Van Damme sad montage.
On my own tonight. Yeah, it's great 80s cheese. I have been in a sad mood and just played this song just so I could feel like Van Damme did in this moment. No, I'm just kidding, but I'm going to.
Go and beat the shit out of people afterwards, I hope.
Yeah, definitely, man. To be cool again, yeah. I'll do something really corny to be cool again. When I start kicking ass. Great sad montage. I like when he thinks he sees Chong Li sitting next to him and it's his old Chinese dude.
I completely forgot about that until I watched it this time. He sees his reflection in the window.
And the way he's looking at him, like...
Yeah, totally wide-eyed, yeah.
The old wide-eyed.
It's ridiculous.
So Frank walks through the halls of the Kowloon walled city, and those Henry and Rollins are there waiting for him, and then the police chief is there too.
Can I just say something about these guys? They don't have guns. They have fucking these absurd tasers.
Tasers, yeah.
Those look just like something out of a fucking science fiction movie.
Did you notice in that scene how far away they were from Frank when they started talking to each other when he was walking down that hallway? Because they start talking and they'd show the cops, then they'd show Frank, then the cops.
Yeah.
And then it shows him slowly getting closer to them. And I realized, I was like, holy shit, when this scene started, they were like 100 yards away. But
right.
They were just talking in normal voices like this, and they were hearing each other perfectly. It was so ridiculous.
And then, of course, you have like the two like jump. I'll say it for lack of a better term, jump scare cops that Van Damme just fucking handles.
Oh my god! So yeah, the American cops shoot their tasers at Van Damme. He picks up, what is it, like a trash can lid or something?
Trash can lid. Yep.
The tasers bounce off the trash can lid and both land perfectly into the Asian cops, as if that is remotely possible,
or if it's remotely okay for a guy to go into a foreign country and kick the throat of a police officer and smash the other one in the face with his baggage.
He would have been fucking shot on sight.
But instead, they just give up and let him in.
And then the officers are like, follow me. Like, we'll just go in.
What are we going to do? Just let him in? He goes, follow me. And what? As if he has a plan. No, he's just going to sit there and watch.
Well, the best part is, though, is that, like, realistically, is, like, they had their job done. Like, Van Damme is compliant the whole time. He's like, just let me finish this, and I'll go with you.
Right.
And they were just like, no, you gotta come now. You're too much of an asset. Mind you, we don't know what he's an asset to.
We never get told.
Yeah, exactly.
He was just kicking the speed bag in there.
Right.
Went to take a shower. We don't know anything he's done in the army or what he's there for.
Yeah, he must have been like a universal soldier or something.
We already did that show.
See what I did there?
No, the Ghoul did it already like an hour ago. But nice try.
Not as these are being released.
So Janice decides that she will sit around and watch, like she said she was not going to do earlier in the hospital. It starts off with Frank Dukes and Paco. Paco tricks him into doing this weird thing, like he puts his fists up and says, come on. What were they going to do when they held their fists together? What do you do after that?
Sometimes in boxing, just because I've been a boxing enthusiast for so long, sometimes before a round, especially before like if you get to the final round of a fight, the boxers will like touch gloves before the round starts and then they'll start fighting. So it's just kind of like okay, let's go. Boom. Okay, now we fight. So he tricked him into thinking that's what that was going to be, but then started beating the shit out of him.
Either way, Frank fucks him up.
After they trade 25 kicks back and forth.
Another...
They're going to do that in the next movie, guys.
I think they do that in Kickboxer, too.
I think so.
If we ever review that.
No, we would never review that first. Yeah.
And you mean Kickboxer 2 as in Kickboxer 2, Kickboxer as well? Yes?
Kickboxer TOO.
We can't bring back jokes we didn't get to yet.
Kickboxer 2 TOO.
It's not going to make sense.
You are next.
You are next.
Is Paco the guy that Frank does that kick where his leg comes completely up?
No.
Over his... Oh, okay.
That's Lee. Yeah. How did the guy who's fighting Chong Li in this first thing even make it this far?
That's...
yeah.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
They sure as hell didn't portray him to be some kind of a badass or something. They didn't. I was going to say, I don't think he had any build-up whatsoever.
No.
Nothing.
Wouldn't that be cool to have the best four guys out of what we've been watching this whole time?
Right. Just like in Over the Top. You see all those arm wrestlers, all the different ones, and then they keep showing the same guys even when it's not Stallone or, they keep condensing it down to where you're like, okay, this guy's good. Oh, this guy's really good. And then till it's like the final four.
Yeah. Or even like Mortal Kombat.
Okay. Yeah, so Mortal Kombat was created. It was based off of this movie. And the guy, Johnny Cage, is Van Damme.
Yes, he is. Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why the Mortal Kombat tie-in comes in. Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, the split. Johnny Cage is like, well, at least now in the new games, his main thing is he does a split and then he does a fucking super nut punch.
So is Chong Li based on, or is Liu Kang based on Chong Li?
Liu Kang is more so based on like a mix of Bruce Lee and I'll have to look on my MK fucking thing, but no, Johnny Cage is strictly based on Van Damme.
Frank Dukes wins.
So Chong Li snaps this guy's fucking neck for no apparent reason after punching him square in the face while he's laying on the ground. Like, is the match still allowed to go on? The guy is completely incapacitated, laying on the ground, and the guy lifts his head up and punches his face in, and that's okay? And then he breaks his neck, murders him for no reason, and everyone's cheering for him. Until the council stands up and then turns their back on Chong Li.
Well, yeah, he fucking punches him in the nose and then snaps his neck, and then fucking Montel Williams puts his hand on the guy's throat and feels his pulse, and there's nothing there. And he looks at Chong Li like, you just fucking killed this guy. Are you fucking kidding me?
And he won't raise his arm in victory.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they turn away, they're all disgusted, but nothing comes of it. He's not thrown out of the tournament, nothing. Like, there is no repercussions for murdering a man.
But
yeah, I mean, it's so underground.
It's allowed, but in this, it seems egregious. Like, the guy was already knocked out.
It's frowned upon.
So he just did it just because Chong Li as we have seen, Chong Li's self-arrogant. He's a prick.
Right. Just to intimidate Frank, really. I mean, there's no other reason to do this.
Right.
He didn't accidentally kill him during the fight or anything. It was the guy was fucking...
Killed him on purpose, yeah. He's afraid to fucking murder the guy.
So Chong Li stuffs this pill down his shorts, this white giant pill.
Yeah, it looks like an Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah, I was just saying, what is that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, did he think he was gonna get acid reflux during the fight?
I always thought it was just he picked up sand from the outside of the ring and just threw it.
Nope.
But I didn't realize it's like chalk, pill or chalk or whatever.
Did you ever notice Chong Li's always like he always makes that like he has gas or something? So it would make sense that he has an Alka-Seltzer or whatever. Like right. He's always holding his stomach. It seems like he's gassy. Yeah, well, before he was like, "You are next." Before he even does the pill thing.
I got a good, I don't know how much you guys are into synth music stuff, but I have a good song that has a good sound clip of "You Are Next."
Yeah?
For that I gotta send you guys.
Send it to me, yes.
Yeah.
Me too. Chong Li's wearing Ray's bandana around his knee, the Harley one that he took from his head after the fight, that he dangled in front of...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that when he took Ray's bandana and held it over Frank.
Yeah.
That was great.
And he squeezes it, you could hear the collapsing of the cloth.
Yeah. Awesome.
So he's wearing it, and he's like, "You break my record. Now I break you. Like I break your friend." And then...
Now, do we think that was really Bolo Young talking?
No. It sounded good. It sounded like he was in that correct space.
Yeah. It wasn't bad, but I know it wasn't him. So.
Yeah, they had the presence of mind to film it in a place like that matches the acoustics of that room. It doesn't sound like it was in a studio like in Halloween where it's like, "Michael?" And it sounds like they're in a fucking...
Michael, I'm your sister. Don't hurt me.
You had to put that in there.
No, that just popped in. Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh, well.
Holy shit. Halloween 2 TV cut, everybody.
So the directing of this match is superb. It is framed and filmed excellently. The things that are slowed down should be slowed down. Everything is right about this fight. The only thing that's lame is when Chong Li charges after Frank, he front flips over him, then kicks that it reaches Frank's own shoulder, which his toes, because I guess Chong Li immediately runs right behind Frank for whatever reason, and his toes impact Chong Li's forehead.
Yeah, I guess that's another instance of showing his flexibility from the ropes, that you can be in a full standing position and raise your leg to where your toes completely come backwards, equal with your head, so you can kick someone in the face. Like, that's like Ghoul's elbow. Like how he can fucking bend it backwards. It's ridiculous.
So he eventually crumbles up this pill, because I guess Frank's handing him his ass at this point. He's not going to win, and just in case, he had this pill in his pants that luckily didn't fall out, and he crumbles it up, throws it in Frank's face. So this dust, whatever it is, I don't know what.
Yeah, it blinds him just like Michael Myers was blinded in Halloween 2 after he got his eyes shot out.
Yeah, but you killed it because you already mentioned Halloween 2.
No, that happened organically. Ghoul had this one planned. I just had to deliver it.
Boy, he's feeding him lines now.
Oh,
these guys will do anything. Yeah, so he gets a few hits off, and then he starts cheering like he accomplished something.
Immediately dismissed.
What did Chong Li accomplish that he's so excited about, and he's howling on the mat? And then, woo! Woo! Like, he's so excited that, look,
right.
I was getting my ass handed to me, and now, because I'm cheating. So everybody saw that, right? And I guess it's allowed?
Well, yeah, absolutely, because you can tell they don't really have any rules.
Right. So at this point, so Frank starts making all these really sad sounds of like, and his eyes, he's like Like
it's the slow-mo in this scene is next level.
But it's still great. I guess
it's effective. Yeah, it's effective. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I really do. Sure, you could make fun of it, but growing up, I thought it was excellent.
Same here. Yes.
No, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love the sad sounds he makes because it just sounds so helpless. And then the music, it's like, and then he starts seeing the visions of the training with his eyes closed and everything, and that all comes back beautifully. Because it was such a random scene in the beginning of the movie, and now it becomes the crux of the whole fight, right?
100%.
I don't know if you noticed this, but when he's down on the mat, like that whole flashback part, his hair is like sopping wet from sweat. But then when he gets up and starts kicking Chong Li's ass, his hair is bone dry.
Are you kidding?
Is it really?
Yeah, I noticed it on this watch, yeah.
Wow.
Just a terrible editing overlook, obviously.
That never occurred to me.
Yeah.
Maybe his flashback went on so long his hair dried. Just like the sword flashback.
Dude, the sword flashback, I can't get over that. That thing took up like 20 minutes of the movie.
Oh my god.
Only for it to be just a flashback. I was like, oh my god.
Great though, really great.
Yeah. No, it was good, but I just was like, oh fucking, it's ridiculous.
I guess they didn't want to just do the training and then flash forward to the movie.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I was just, having not seen this in a couple years, I always forget about it.
So now Frank blocks this weird... What was Bolo doing? Like swinging his arm into Frank's face and then he blocked it? What kind of fighting hit was that anyway? Why wouldn't he just kick the side of his face and then Frank just blocks it? Like, wouldn't that make more sense?
I mean, he even pushes the referee at Frank when Frank can't see.
That's
like,
yes,
as
that's right.
like a decoy to try to make him think that was him. But somehow he figures it out and he pushes Montel Williams to the side.
Well, he figures it out because Chong Li's not wearing a shirt. He like grabs and he realizes it's not him.
Right.
So
I love how he uses that ref. He jumps over that ref, like he uses him as like a fucking stepping stool to jump over and fucking hit Chong at one point.
How about the amazing camera shot where like it now circles the entire ring and it goes behind the council where they're sitting, and it kind of reminds you that, like, wow, look, these guys are watching all this happen. Like, because sometimes you get lost in the movie and you forget that this is real life and someone's doing these things, and you just kind of get lost in this story. So when they show the point of view of the council and they're looking at Van Damme like trying to like figure his way around the mat even though he's blind, it shows you like, wow, I wonder what they're thinking about this. Like they're like, wow, so he's like blind, he can't even see, and this is amazing, you know, and everything that's happening.
And something else about this final match, how come just for this match they took both ends of the mat and elevated them like on a slant?
And then
whereas
the
whole rest of the movie, the mat was completely flat. But on this one, both ends were like, you know, like making hills on either side. What was the purpose of doing that for the final match? I don't understand.
Skateboarding.
I would say, as far as that, no, it's probably
thrashing.
Electric Boogaloo.
All right, so how did he not accidentally fall off the runway while he was blind?
Because he had the spirit of his mentor.
Senzo Tanaka?
Yeah.
Sixth sense conditioning, yeah.
So he does this windmill kick over and over and over, and Chong Li keeps ducking it.
And he misses it, like 3 or 4 times? Yeah.
5 times. And then you see Janice laughing at him because he kept missing.
Oh, I thought she was cheering because he finally landed one.
Did he land one?
Yeah, the final one. Even though it wasn't like a full clean kick, he actually like grazed the skin at one point. And I thought that was just her cheering like, oh yes, go Frank.
Right. In the next Van Damme movie we review, Kickboxer, Tong Po seems somewhat incapacitated, as if he forgot how to fight. How do you guys feel about how they did this with Chong Li as far as who he is, what he's been doing the whole movie compared to what he did once Frank Dukes got his bearings again?
I mean, I never really thought about it. It didn't jump out to me like in Kickboxer, that in Kickboxer it's like almost like Tong Po almost forgot how to fight. Because in this, Chong Li's still fighting back. He's just nothing is like landing for him basically, and Frank's ducking and dodging and blocking all the shit. I don't know. It didn't bother me in this one.
As far as the two of them, I actually think it feels more overcoming in Kickboxer to me against Tong Po.
Right.
I think the cut the wraps off thing of Kickboxer, and he just goes complete bare fist. Granted, he's already bare fist in fucking Bloodsport, but I think I have more hate for Tong Po as a villain in that movie. So I think that's what adds to it for me. Because
Van Damme's girlfriend cheated on Van Damme with Tong Po. I mean, that's why you hate him in that movie.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, what a slut, dude. And I heard they didn't even use protection.
They didn't use
they used lambskin.
No, they didn't use the what the fuck is it?
Splash guard?
Yes, splash guard. Yes. Didn't use a splash guard.
So he does like a bunch of 360 split kicks, which look amazing. I mean,
they do look awesome.
You've never seen anything like this in movies to this point, or maybe, I don't know. I don't really watch all those kung fu movies. Maybe you did, but either way, it was directed and shot beautifully. Van Damme looks amazing doing these things. Everything just looks so right, you know? Like, Chong Li looks so like a real star, a real villain. He fits the bill. Van Damme fits the bill. This whole place they're fighting in, the ramp, the signs behind them, all the people and the bleachers, it all looks so perfect. It's totally legit. They never really recapture this in the sequels or anything, and it just shows how authentic and lived in it all feels. And I don't know, it was just captured. The music, the soundtrack, we didn't really get into the soundtrack, but like the music, all the music in the training, all the music in the fights, like the songs in this movie are all so spot on. Everything about this is so genuinely great. This was just another amazing fight, amazing ending. He gets Chong Li, he's either gonna break his neck or get him to say Mate. Chong Li does it, which is the most humiliating way to beat somebody. And then he takes back the bandana of Ray Jackson. It's over. It's his big deal.
Well, that's big for you too, because it's a Harley Davidson bandana.
And when I met Ray Jackson, he was wearing a Harley Davidson hat.
Yeah,
like in the picture I sang.
And a shirt too.
Yeah, right. So Ray Jackson's drinking beer in a hospital bed. He's like, "You really kicked his ass, hey Frankie?" And he goes, "He made him say I quit or whatever."
Mate.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, what do you guys think about the bromance moment at this point?
Fucking love it.
Hot.
You should keep your clothes on next time you fight. Anytime, any place, anywhere, which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
If you need me, I'll be there. I love you, my friend. All right, how many Alka-Seltzer tabs are we crushing and throwing into Frank Dukes' face out of 5 for Bloodsport Ghoul?
All right, so this is the Van Damme movie. This is the one. You get started with this one, you're on a fucking rabbit hole down all the other ones. The fights are fucking awesome. The side characters are fucking amazing. It's like Mortal Kombat before Mortal Kombat was a thing. Like, I would say not like video game wise, but movie wise, like, because you have all these different characters that have their own specific styles, and you recognize them when they're in the montages, the fighting, stuff like that. Yeah, they're all like noticeable standouts. The fucking score kills this movie in the best way. I love this fucking score. It's one of the best. Fight to Survive is one of the best movie soundtrack songs that could have ever come out of any movie of the 80s. And yeah, this one's a fucking knockout. I could have used a little more fights, but that's just being greedy. 4 out of 5 for me.
Wow, nice.
No, my bad. 4.5 out of 5 for me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Man. All right, how many Alka-Seltzer tabs are you crushing and throwing in Frank Dukes' face out of 5 for Bloodsport Chris?
So I got into this back pretty much when it first came out, when I was 13 years old. Just, you know, I was completely unfamiliar with this type of fighting when I saw this. So it was really it was like intoxicating watching it. Just this Which is, it's funny because that's like what UFC became when it first started in the mid 90s, when it was like anything goes. All these different types of fighting styles came together, which ironically enough, I never got into the UFC, but I love this movie. So I kind of feel like this movie like spawned the UFC. I really like all the side characters in this movie. Even just like the cops and stuff, they're still entertaining. The chick's fine, even though she's not a good actress. She's fine enough. The fights are great. Chong Li is incredible. Van Damme's good. This is one I've continued to watch religiously over the years. It's not like, I can't say it's like one of my all-time favorites, but it's still really, really enjoyable. So I will crush 4.25 Alka-Seltzer tablets out of 5.
Nice. Yeah, I started watching this 11, 12, 13, not really sure when. Staple my whole life. The music, the imagery, the Kowloon Walled City, the whole platform, the Kumite event, the side characters, Chong Li, just superb job. And there actually, I tracked down another movie with him called Blood Fight. It's like a Bloodsport ripoff, Blood Fight.
Wow.
And it's so weird and bad. But and I remember watching it like 3 years ago again, and I don't think it didn't feel like it paid off to have him in it. Like it wasn't a capacity that you'd really be happy with. But if you want to just forward through and watch that part, I guess you could. But yeah, Frank Dukes, like Van Damme for being his first real movie, total star power, great charisma, just the kind of guy you're on board with. You just fall in love with his character and everything. He looks amazing. He fights amazing. He looks so good on screen when he's fighting. It's really, really remarkable. I think this clearly Van Damme's greatest movie, and he's one of the biggest stars in the world, and this being his best movie, that says a lot.
Yeah, and that while his first movie, most people consider to be his best one.
Yeah, well, yeah. First starring movie, yeah.
Right, that's what I meant. Yeah, his first starring vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's huge. Like, I can't even imagine his life at that time. So I give this is personally 5 out of 5. I am obsessed with Bloodsport.
Nice.
Love it. Yep. So, yeah, you guys don't know it, but we had a Van Damme weekend. We reviewed Bloodsport and Kickboxer in the same day. This is a great time. So we will see you next weekend.